Hi, I'm Nan Simonson. I'm a health and wellness coach, a national board certified health and wellness coach with a lifestyle medical practice that I so proudly announce now the renaming of, and that is the Blue Zones Health Clinic here in Riverside, California, and we have an office in Redlands, California. We're one of the first medical offices to be licensed for this um, from the Blue Zones Corporation. And that means we double down on our intent to help people live longer, healthier lives through lifestyle as medicine, but also through a number of ways of allowing our environment to affect us and the way we live. And the Blue Zones efforts, and our city is one of them, the Blue Zones efforts is to invest millions in a community to reshape the community to help people get healthier, bigger bike paths, more walking opportunities, taking vending machines out of public places, etc. And I'm just delighted we have such a thing. So what is my subject today? I'm here with a group of wonderful people, and every Thursday afternoon we meet and have what we call a PowerPoints group, points of interest as it relates to lifestyle as medicine. And I'll get back to them, but when I do the presentation, many times I'll record it because it's valuable information and I want you to know. Today I have valuable information for you because many of you know that I have, I'll say self-directed a personal challenge, a 6-week challenge to do Dr. Brooke Goldner's Goodbye Autoimmune Protocol. She wrote the book, and I'm sorry I don't have the books here to show you, but in all of my other videos with her name in it, I show her books. The Goodbye Autoimmune book that she wrote in 2015 has the dietary component outlined beautifully because it's what she used to overcome a 12-year devastating case of lupus. And she even went through medical school this way. And she was told she may have only 3 years to live, and she would probably be on dialysis within the next 6 months. And all of this. I'm not going to do all of that now because I've done it, the outline of it in many other videos, and I don't want to take your time. You can watch any of the linked videos in the description, including all of her links. Well, there's going to be something else. I'll finish telling you my intent, and then there'll be something else that you'll be getting a link for. And so my intent was a 6-week period, and she even offers 6 weeks of her time on a daily basis to groups of people to help heal. And she has phenomenal results because she's walking people through the process. The process includes the food element, but then she wrote that book 2015, and then by 2019 she had 4 years to work with people. It might have been that the book was published in 2019 and she was looking back at 3 years, but she had all that time to work with people, see these fabulous successes, but most of the successes when she had a chance to connect with people about their lifestyle, but also what was in their heads, what was in their heart, their stress levels, their sleep levels, their movement levels. In other words, lifestyle and psychology. She's a board certified psychiatrist and she studied neurology as well. And she's before she even became an MD, she was a geneticist. So she's very well versed in our body. And I heard about her. When she's doing the next class mid-October, this is 2024, we were going away on a holiday. I had gotten some lab work that I didn't like. I saw very high rheumatoid arthritis antibodies. I saw high thyroglobulin antibodies, and I had just heard her say, you can turn chronic disease around and autoimmune disease around using this protocol, because she's worked with over 5,000 people now, and she's helped countless numbers to overcome what most doctors said food had nothing to do with, even things like macular degeneration and eye problems, and again, on and on we could go. So that's where I am. I'm now on day number 35 of the 48-day, 6-week period. By next Tuesday, this is Tuesday, I will be finished with the protocol per se, but I'll have more to say about that. But what's the thing that I have for you? Well, lots of people on social media, because that's how I began my mission on social media after I wrote Aging Powerfully just before turning 70. I'm now just a few months from 74. And when I wrote Aging Powerfully about living longer, stronger, with great health, longevity, and joy, I outlined the lifestyle as medicine pillars that can make a difference. Well, when I began that, I set up social media, especially doing videos, training and teaching videos on food. Whole food, plant-based is part of lifestyle as medicine, as ascribed by the College of Lifestyle Medicine. So on social media, I've been posting since I began working Dr. Goldner's processes, but doing it simply from what she offers for free. And next Tuesday will be the last day. Wednesday, I have lab work. And won't that be interesting to see? And I've been as diligent as possible, followed the protocols as perfectly as possible. And won't it be interesting to see lab work a week before, lab work a day after doing the 6 weeks? So I'm taking you along, and I'm getting questions on social media, lots of questions that are medical questions. People saying, can I do this with, well, any number of different chronic and many, many autoimmune diseases? And the answers to any of those questions can be found in her 3-class course that she's at this time offering for free. The name of the class is 6 Steps to Reversing Disease Using Supermarket Food. 6 Steps to Reducing Chronic Disease, or reversing. And she uses the word reverse because she reversed for her autoimmune lupus. She has seen hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people reverse their autoimmune diseases. I'm trying to reverse my autoimmune diseases, and I'll know that I have when I see the numbers, those antibodies move. So I have to say, stay tuned for that. Well, her class is typically available 3 class series for $47, and you get lifetime access, but several times a year she offers it for free. And I'm coming to you because I was just reminded again that she's offering it free through October 14th. And I'm going to put on the description, that will be the first description in the or the first link in the description. I'm putting that link there. You can go to the link and watch all 3 classes. The first one is her story and her illness, so you'll understand what she recovered from that was, well, every doctor said incurable. In that same class, it's the foods you should not be eating because they're so inflammatory. They make every meal a challenge for your body. The next class is what you should eat, but first the science behind it. And I found that fascinating. I watched these classes twice because the first time I just wanted to know what I should do and how I should do it. The science began to bog me down. This last time, I was fascinated by the science because it's rock solid. And the third class is almost, I believe, 25 stories of reversal. And the people are mentioned, many of them speak of the things that she was able to help them with the Goodbye Lupus protocol, but more importantly, the Goodbye Autoimmune protocol. So what's the difference? The main difference between the two is that the Goodbye Lupus is the food, Goodbye Autoimmune is the food and the psychology behind it, which can be very, very important and a very strong element in recovery. That I'm not getting from her, but I teach a lot of those things as a health and wellness coach. And so I'm not unfamiliar, and I'm in a good place personally, so I don't feel that I have a lot pulling on me in that way. So the class is available through the 14th, and I would encourage you to watch it. So people could say to me, now, Nan, you've been whole food plant-based, which we took the lead of from the College of Lifestyle Medicine. The doctor I work for is one of the founding members of the College of Lifestyle Medicine, and his name is Dr. Wayne Dysinger. He was their third president, and we follow those pillars as we work with patients, and I've been with him for 6 years, and that was a wonderful marriage. I went plant-based. I went to a cooking class at the clinic. Their health coach was retiring. I was asked, gee, are you a member? No. How did you know about us? One of your members told me. And then I said, and I'm becoming a health coach. I am going to be getting my certification at the end of this month. And I knew that you would be teaching whole food plant-based, which I am, and I wanted to see how you did it. And I was told they were looking now for a health coach because she was retiring, and I've been working with them that long. And in that way, you know what I've seen? I've seen remarkable turnaround. I've seen my own. The reason I went plant-based is because of high cholesterol, a wrecked gut, rheumatoid arthritis. It hurt to move. Pre-diabetes. In other words, I was what, 67 at that time, and all of the age-related ailments of living on a sad diet was crashing down. Even though I was on a healthier than usual sad diet, it still had its effect on me. I went plant-based, all of that disappeared. The only thing I'm working on with this healing protocol is not the symptoms, because I have no symptoms of any of these things, but I have the antibodies, which mean that there's a little thing smoldering in there, and one wrong move, and I'm right back to heavy symptoms. That's why I stay so diligently on whole food plant-based. So whole food plant-based is the way to go toward, well, aging powerfully. But if you want a healing protocol, that's the difference. If somebody wants a healing protocol, one to kick it up beyond what whole food plant-based can do, then you want to look at something that is really out of the norm. And her Goodbye Autoimmune protocol, with the use of hypernourishment, which is the Goodbye Lupus part of it. Well, it's, you know what? I'm going to clarify that even more. I have heard her say the hypernourishing protocol is you're eating these foods and then whatever you want to eat on the side. Is that going to be the best healing protocol for you? No, but it's a lot better than not doing hypernourishment. Goodbye Lupus is the hypernourishment and the protocol of giving up, not having the things we're not supposed to have. And in a nutshell, we're talking about animal products, processed oils, all oils, in general, except for one, and I'll mention that, and giving up processed foods, animal foods, oils, and I think that's that. In other words, what we're looking at is very specific to foods that will heal us in such a way that she can say to somebody, do this protocol with me 4 weeks. She has groups that meet, individuals that meet with her on a personal basis for 4 weeks. She does groups, and that's well, I'll say less expensive, that work with her on 6 weeks. And she will say to them, give me 6 weeks, keep it absolutely clean based on what I'm teaching you. And they, again, have documented hundreds of people recovering from things that they shouldn't have been able to. She recovered from her lupus using the hypernourishment and the rest of the protocol, meaning no animal, no oils, no processed foods. She did in 3 months. She recovered, and it never came back, even through the birth of 2 children. And she was told that each time that would reignite the flame of lupus, and it never did. And some other challenges in her life that have been hard to take, and she's remained disease-free. And so she's very, very determined to help others see the difference, feel the difference, experience the difference of life, feeling badly, needing doctor's visits constantly, never feeling right, and emotionally feeling drained from either pain or worry about health, and the life that she has seen so many of her patients have. And that's where you'll want to watch this class series, especially the last one, but you got to go through the first 2, especially the last one, and hear the stories of these people who were so broken and who are now, well, I'll say like you and me, and hopefully we mean that we're in the best shape of our life. And I hope this protocol allows me to say that next week. So what is the difference? My proposed question here is, so what is the difference between hypernourishment and the protocol, the Goodbye Autoimmune Protocol, and whole food plant-based? And there are very specific differences, and I'm going to read you my notes because I don't want to just talk and miss something. Dr. Brooke Goldner's hypernourishment program and a whole food plant-based diet share some common elements. We know that, but they have distinct focuses and guidelines. Dr. Goldner's hypernourishment program focuses on healing, designed specifically to support the body's healing, especially from autoimmune conditions. It emphasizes rapid nutrient delivery to optimize cellular health and reduce inflammation. Hypernourishment is cellular repair and immune recovery. That takes a very pointed application in order to change around what is actually kind of baked into most of us, like the autoimmune antibodies, even though I don't have the symptoms. It includes a high intake of raw vegetables and omega-3 fatty acids, prioritizing, and this is the big thing, actually requiring only raw cruciferous vegetables like kale, spinach, and broccoli, and large quantities of greens that many people end up simply making into smoothies. And that's why in most things, including the covers of her books, you'll see her holding a big green smoothie, because when she recovered in those 3 months with the protocol of the Goodbye Lupus program, that protocol, she hadn't written the book. This was just the protocol that was noted when she did. In those 3 months, she just ate. And what it comes down to is 1 pound of leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables, and then an additional 1/2 pound of other healing vegetables. In other words, the vegetables that are high in carotenoids and phytonutrients, phytochemicals, things that tend to be life-giving, as opposed to, well, I'm trying to think of an example of a vegetable that would be lesser on the list, and I can't even think of that. Something as minimalist as, let's say, celery, because it looks like a blanched something, has a lot of healing properties. That's why a lot of people are doing celery juicing. So I'm going to leave that alone. And then an additional half a pound at least of vegetables, as well as fruits. And so she spent, well, her entire day eating to get in that much. And and guacamole, meaning avocado, is just fine as long as there's not any oil in it. I'm eating now a 1 to 1.5 or 2 avocados a day now. It keeps me full. It also is nourishing. And she did that for 3 months. And then when she started working with people, she realized that there was some real pushback. People didn't want that much rabbit food. And so she came up with the idea of making smoothies, and her smoothies are 75-25, 75% by volume, all scrunched down as hard as you can get them, the vegetables. And I do that every morning, 1.5 pounds. And then on top of that, 25% by volume fruit, or the other things that go in it. So let me get back to this. So again, prioritizing raw. How many of us prioritize raw? I'll get to that in a bit. When I looked back, I realized that even though I've been whole food plant-based for this long, and even though I have a big luncheon salad, even a big salad, think of the volume of greens. A big bowl of spinach out of the 6-ounce bag that you quite often find triple wash will fill a bowl like this. It feels like a really big salad. That's only 6 ounces. So it's a little misleading when we think, oh, I had a big salad, and realize that volume wise, when kind of scrunched down, it's not that much. So to do 1.5 pounds a day, at least 1 pound of which is green or cruciferous, that means it's a very focused choice, and one that one has to really decide they're going to do. Otherwise, it's too easy to say this is too hard, and it's not hard. You just have to get used to it. And therefore, these large quantities of smoothies every day has become part of the protocol, although people can still simply eat them as salads. The other thing that they're high in is omega-3s, which is an essential fatty acid. There are 3 essential fatty acids. One is omega-3, which is very anti-inflammatory. Omega-6, which creates good inflammation, and the 2 of them should be in balance. When something goes wrong in the body, omega-6 goes flying in to heal it, but only if it's within balance of 3s. But omega-6s are in just about everything, including oils, including processed food, including meat, including most vegetables, most nuts. Sesame seeds are sky high in omega-6s. The problem is, if we don't focus on getting the 3s in, the 6s become so out of balance, they become highly inflammatory. So in this diet, we're keeping down the 6s and we're building up the 3s. How do we build up the 3s? With the plant food that will build them, that are the highest in omega-3 fatty acids, higher in 3s than in 6s. Most foods are higher in 6s than 3s. And even the healthy ones are, but the two that are the highest in 3s to the 6 are flax seeds and chia seeds. Walnuts, if you look at walnuts, they're slightly higher in 6s, but they've got a nice number of 3s, but still the 6s dominate. Or the oils from the cold pressed oils from the flax seeds and the chia seeds. They are a central component for reducing inflammation, and then the fruit is kept to 25% of the volume. Not because fruit is bad, but it's not necessarily healing. It has vitamins, minerals, enzymes, but it is not a targeting food to reduce inflammation in the body. It nourishes, but it is kept at a smaller volume so that the nourishing foods can be kept at a higher volume. Another element is high water intake, hyperhydrating, encouraging drinking a significant amount of water to support the body's detoxification and healing process is paramount. They talk about people that have done everything right, but they didn't get the water right. They were doing maybe 6 glasses, 8 glasses, not enough to hyper nourish the body, because most of us are dehydrated to a degree, hyper nourished, but also with so much that it keeps things flowing, and just as important, flowing out. Because our cells, when we don't have omega 3s, will become stiff, and the toxins in there, the byproducts of metabolism, can stay in the cell. I'm pointing to my shoulder. It cells, what do we have? 100 million trillion cells, something like that. Those cells, when they become stiff with an excess of omega-6s, won't let out the byproducts of metabolism. The omega-3s come in and they coat those cells. They make them softer. They're highly antioxidant. And then you need the water. You need super hydration. Some of you are thinking, oh, is that it? When I knew that, I thought, oh, okay, excuse me. Keep washing. And yes, you go to the restroom often, but it's worth it. The minimum of 96 ounces, or if someone is over 120 pounds, then at least a gallon a day. They may have to titrate up to that. I have at least 100 ounces a day, and I've gotten used to that. And I just think of how my skin is better, my nails are better, my pain that I had going into this which in a damaged knee, it wasn't even the inflammation of the damage, it was a meniscus tear, complex meniscus tear from a year ago, but it was easily inflamed. If I did too much, stood too much, my evening walks bothered it almost every night, and it's gone. It's been gone for over a week, and I've only been doing this now 4 weeks. And strict avoidance of processed foods, completely eliminating all processed foods, sugars, oils, cooked food, is very different than the standard whole food plant-based protocol. The reason being, and I've just said it, the omega-6s are in all of that. And not in sugar necessarily, but sugar is also an inflammatory element component in our body. It also makes us want more sweet because we have sugar receptors that shoot dopamine to the brain. The brain said, that's fun, let's go get more. And then instead of being able to stick to a protocol like this, the person's just thinking all day, how can I get more of what I really liked, which was the sweetness, and so no sugars. And then also no grains and minimal starch. Unlike the typical whole food plant-based diet, it minimizes grains, beans, starches, and focuses on raw fruits, vegetables, and specific seeds for their nutritional density. And yes, for 4 weeks, that's what I've done. Every meal is, well, cold or room temperature. And I've gotten creative with the things that I make to make that work, including dehydrated foods, like some wraps that I've made, dehydrated, and kale chips I just made, dehydrated at 115 or less, then they're still considered raw. A whole food plant-based diet is different because it's a balanced nutritional approach. It focuses on whole, minimally processed plant foods, including fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, seeds, and nuts of all kinds. It's more flexibly balanced for general health. I wouldn't go on this strict a protocol too long. I would miss cooked food. I would miss my beans and my other legumes and my grains. And Dr. Goldner no longer is on the strict lupus protocol. She's on hyper nourishing, and that is with her smoothie every day, because of all those vegetables and all of the, again, pointed nutrition for cellular protection and immune function. But the rest of what she eats is still healthy, salads and soups and grains, but not this restrictive. Actually, whole food plant-based is what healed me in the first place. This is just picking it up a notch. Whole food plant-based includes cooked foods, allowing for a variety of cooking methods, including both raw and cooked plant foods. And this is the thing that when I looked at my diet before and I thought, well, what was so different? I have to point out that I had raw food. I had a big salad every day with all kinds of greens. And now I realize it was probably 4 ounces of greens, even though it looked all fluffy and I chopped it down. And then a lot of other vegetables chopped, some fruit chopped, radishes and all of that. But it was nothing like the quantity of these raw vegetables. I put a number of cooked things in, and sometimes I'd dump the cooked vegetables from the night before that were cold. I'd chop them up and put them in the salad. You see the difference? I clearly see the difference. And this has left me wanting to give my body more often food that has not been altered in any way, that's filled with enzymes and the nourishing elements of the whole food. Dr. Goldner's directive comes because when she looked at studies, they found that in most cases, vegetables that were cooked lost 30% of nutritional value. Vitamin C would disappear. The sulforaphane in the cruciferous vegetables would disappear. Lycopene in tomatoes went up, but that was and some things became more digestible, but not necessarily more nutritious. Do you see the difference? So there'll be more raw foods in my diet. I like them. I have found I've come to love them, but I never thought about it before. I could go the entire day, oatmeal for one, a baked potato with steamed broccoli for another meal, a pasta with a cooked pasta sauce and more vegetables on that, or lentils on that. You see, I could go whole day and not have fresh, except maybe the fruit that went on my oatmeal in the morning. And less emphasis on raw. I've just stated that. That was my next point. While it encourages eating leafy greens, we're back to whole food plant-based, it doesn't emphasize them to the extent hypernourishing does. A variety includes more grains, or the variety we get includes and encourages more grains and legumes and starchy vegetables. And then finally, in whole food plant-based, we do moderate oils. So it generally limits oils, but some variations may include small amounts of healthy oils like olive oil. Well, olive oil is fine because I began to say there are three essential fatty acids, and they are omega-3, omega-6, and omega-9. And olive oil has omega-9, which is more of a neutral oil, and it has some polyphenols and all. But what I do know is that I have lost, without thinking about it, that wasn't what I was trying to do, and I'm small. I've lost 4 pounds in this 4 weeks, and I don't mind that, but I don't want to keep losing. And what I do know is when I go back to adding even a healthy oil. Well, I've cooked without oil for 6 years now, partially because of the omega-6s and partially because of the nutrition of the density of caloric density of oil. Oil, a tiny bit, a tablespoon is 120 calories. I could eat an entire pound of broccoli for just a little more than that, or a couple of apples that I love, or, you get the picture. Okay, so I just want to remind you, in summary, Dr. Goldner's hyper-nourishing program is more intensive. It's focused on raw omega-3s, hyper hydration for therapeutic reasons and purposes. In contrast, a whole food plant-based diet is broader and includes more food categories like the grains and the cooked foods, and aims for general health rather than targeted healing. The general health that we get from a whole food plant-based diet supersedes, excels, cures most of what happens with people on a standard American diet, where 65% of what we're eating in this country and in Western countries is processed food. It's not even real. We eat about 7% of our diet in vegetables. And the number one vegetable in our country is ketchup. The number two is potatoes. And where do you find it? In French fries. In other words, we are nothing like either one of these diets. And that's one of the reasons whole food plant-based is it's the way to go. I have taken a lot of your time. Let me remind you that as soon as I finish this, I will put up the link for the classes. Go to the link, watch the classes until October 14th when they come down, and she'll put them on again for free at another time. But this is your chance to get the education, to get the background, to get the knowledge, and hopefully to get the inspiration. If nothing else, do a half a volume of a smoothie every day for what that does for you health-wise over what we usually eat. And that's that. Mic drop. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, share this, give it a thumbs up, and hope to catch you again. Consider Aging Powerfully. It's a good read. And I thank you for your attention. Have a great day. I know I'm going to. Bye-bye.